Hello everyone, welcome to the Sleeping Times channel. Tonight, we're going to travel to 13th century Samarkand and experience a full day at the Great Bazaar of the Silk Road, one of the most extraordinary markets in human history. Imagine a place where Chinese merchants trade imperial silks alongside Arabian perfumers, where spices more valuable than gold scent the air, and where every conversation is a meeting between civilizations. A space where Persian carpets cover the ground like works of art, where the sound of dozens of languages creates a multicultural symphony, and where every transaction is a small bridge between distant worlds. In the next few hours, you will smell the intoxicating aroma of cashmere saffron, hear the gentle clinking of silver coins, touch silks that have traveled thousands of miles, and witness how completely different cultures found harmony through trade and mutual respect. This is a unique sensory journey, from the city's silent awakening to the solemn closing of the market, when the last stars emerge over Samarkand's blue domes. If you enjoy stories that relax and transport you to other times and places, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and turn on notifications. Comment where you're watching from. We love knowing that our listeners are spread all over the world, just like the ancient Silk Road merchants. Are you ready for this experience in the heart of the medieval world? Then relax, close your eyes, and let yourself be carried away to the most fascinating market in history. The first ray of sun gently touches Samarkand's blue domes, creating golden reflections that dance upon the ornate minarets. The city awakens slowly, like a flower opening at dawn. The morning air still carries the night's coolness, mixed with the distant aroma of bread being baked in the clay ovens that dot the residential neighborhoods. The time-polished stone streets begin to echo with the first footsteps of merchants, their soft leather slippers producing a gentle, comforting rhythm. In the houses of Islamic architecture, with their inner courtyards adorned by murmuring fountains, families prepare for another day. Women, dressed in fine cotton tunics embroidered with golden threads, prepare morning tea in bronze samovars that reflect the rising light. The aromatic steam of green tea mixed with cardamom and cinnamon gracefully rises, creating small fragrant clouds that dissipate in the crisp morning air. Men adjust their silk turbans, each fold carefully arranged according to ancestral traditions. Their long tunics, made of fabrics that traveled thousands of miles, linen from Egypt, cotton from India, silk from China, sway gently as they walk through the narrow streets. The sound of their conversations in Arabic, Persian, and Turkish blends harmoniously, creating a multilingual symphony that cradles the city's awakening. Children run through the courtyards, their crystalline laughter echoing between adobe walls, decorated with geometric tiles in shades of cobalt blue and emerald green. Their bare feet touch the cool stone ground as they chase cats, lazily stretching under the sun's first caresses. The contrast between youthful energy and morning serenity creates an atmosphere of peace and continuity. In nearby mosques, the muezzin softly intones the call to morning prayer. His melodious voice floats over the flat rooftops, blending with the distant singing of birds nesting in the hanging gardens of the palaces. The entire city seems to breathe in unison, preparing for another day of encounters and discoveries. Gardeners carefully water the rose bushes that adorn the public gardens, their petals still covered with night dew. The aroma of Damascus roses mixes with the scent of jasmine growing wild on ancient walls. Each drop of water falling from the leaves produces a delicate sound, like tiny crystal bells playing a morning melody. In the kitchens, fires are lit in clay stoves, and soon the smell of toasting spices, cumin, coriander, saffron, begins to spread through the streets. Copper pots, polished until they shine like mirrors, reflect the dancing flames as the day's first dishes are prepared with ingredients that arrived from distant lands. Horses in the stables gently whinny, their hooves rhythmically tapping on the stone floor as they await the moment to depart for another journey. Their silky manes sway in the morning breeze, and their dark eyes reflect the wisdom of those who have traveled countless miles along the trade routes connecting east and west. The first caravans begin to form in the courtyards of the caravanserais, these medieval hotels that offered safe shelter to travelers. The metallic sound of coins being counted mixes with the soft rustle of bundles being tied onto the camels' backs. Each animal carries treasures from different civilizations: Chinese silks, Indian spices, Arabian perfumes, precious metals from the mountains of Central Asia. The city of Samarkand awakens thus, enveloped in an atmosphere of expectation and serenity, preparing to welcome merchants, artisans, scholars, and travelers from all known parts of the world. The morning air carries promises of discoveries, prosperous business, and encounters that can change destinies, all cradled by the tranquility of an ancient routine that repeats like an ancestral dance. In the caravanserais scattered throughout the city, merchants of different nationalities meticulously prepare for another day of business. These impressive buildings, with their central courtyards surrounded by two-story arcades, offer not only shelter, but a microcosm of the Silk Road's cultural diversity. The soft sound of footsteps on the Persian carpets covering the corridors blends with conversations in Mandarin, Arabic, Mongolian, and dozens of other languages. A Chinese merchant, dressed in a navy blue silk tunic embroidered with golden dragons, carefully examines his silk rolls. His experienced hands glide over the fabric with the delicacy of someone who knows the value of every thread. The silk, stored in sandalwood boxes that exude a sweet, woody aroma, represents months of travel from the workshops of Hangzhou. Each piece is a work of art, with patterns that tell stories of emperors and ancient legends. Next to him, an Arab merchant from Baghdad organizes his spices in small linen bags. Saffron, more valuable than gold, is kept in special silver containers. His hands, stained from the constant handling of spices, move with precision as he separates cardamom, cinnamon, nutmeg, and black pepper. The aroma rising from his products is so intense that it perfumes the entire floor of the caravanserai, creating an almost magical atmosphere. A Persian artisan carefully adjusts his carpets in one of the rooms. Each piece took months to weave, with geometric patterns that follow traditions passed down through generations. The colors, deep red, royal blue, gold, were obtained from natural dyes: cochineal for red, indigo for blue, saffron for yellow. When unrolled, the carpets transform the environment, creating small oases of beauty and comfort. Indian merchants display their jewelry and precious stones on black velvet cloths. Rubies from Myanmar gleam like drops of royal blood. Emeralds from the Panjshir Valley capture the morning light like small pieces of crystallized forest. And pearls from the Persian Gulf reflect a pearly luster that seems to contain the moon's own light. Each piece is examined with crystal magnifiers, and the delicate sound of the stones being moved creates a subtle, mesmerizing music. Glass merchants from Venice, who made the long journey across the Mediterranean and Asia Minor, carefully unpack their creations. Blown crystal goblets, ornate framed mirrors, and colorful glass beads that will be used to make jewelry. Each piece is wrapped in soft fabrics to protect it during the journey, and when exposed to light, they create colorful reflections that dance across the caravanserai walls. Precious metal merchants polish their wares with silk cloths. Hammered silver trays from Isfahan, gold cups from Bukhara, and decorative bronze objects from Damascus gleam under the filtered light, entering through the wooden latticed windows. The soft metallic sound of polishing creates a relaxing rhythm that blends with the merchants' conversations. Book and manuscript sellers organize their precious collections. Arabic texts on astronomy and mathematics, Persian poetry copied in elegant calligraphy, Chinese treatises on medicine and philosophy. Each book is a window into different worlds of knowledge, and the smell of parchment and ink creates an aroma that speaks of wisdom and learning accumulated over centuries. Incense and perfume merchants prepare their essences in small, colorful glass vials. Ambergris from the Indian Ocean, musk from the Tibetan mountains, oud from the forests of Southeast Asia. Each fragrance tells a story of distant lands and ancient traditions. When the vials are opened for demonstration, the air fills with aromas that transport the mind to exotic gardens and sacred temples. The preparation is a ritual in itself, each merchant following traditions passed from father to son. They know that the presentation of their goods is as important as the quality of the products. Each item is arranged with artistic care, creating displays that are true works of art, designed to capture the imagination and awaken desire in the buyers who will soon arrive at the market. With the sun already high in the turquoise sky, the heavy carved wooden doors of the Grand Bazaar slowly open, creaking softly on their wrought iron hinges. The sound echoes through the adjacent streets like a silent invitation to the entire world. Guards dressed in green tunics, the color of Islam, take their positions at the main entrances, their white turbans elegantly contrasting with their carefully trimmed dark beards. The interior of the bazaar reveals itself as a cathedral of commerce, with high vaults supported by marble columns that rise majestically towards the ceiling. Sunlight filters through small openings in the roof, creating golden beams that illuminate the dancing dust in the air. The floor is paved with polished stones that softly reflect the light, creating a path that invites exploration. The first people to enter are the local merchants who know every corner and every secret of the bazaar. Their footsteps echo softly through the empty galleries, creating a rhythm that will soon be replaced by the hum of thousands of voices. They greet each other with respectful gestures, hands touching their hearts as a sign of sincerity, their low, melodious voices echoing through the stone vaults. The first aromas begin to mingle in the air, the incense burning in the small altars scattered throughout the bazaar, the smell of tanned leather from shoemakers' workshops, the sweet aroma of honey and pistachio sweets beginning to be prepared in the confectionaries. Each smell tells a story. Each fragrance is a promise of discoveries awaiting visitors. The stalls begin to be set up with precise, rehearsed movements. Colorful fabrics are stretched over wooden structures, creating small pavilions that transform the bazaar into a kaleidoscope of colors. Crimson red, sapphire blue, emerald green, sun gold, each color more vibrant than the last, all competing for attention in a visual symphony that dazzles the senses. Carpet merchants unroll their masterpieces, creating overlapping layers of patterns and textures. The soft sound of carpets being unrolled, like waves gently breaking on the shore, mixes with the metallic clinking of coins being arranged in small leather pouches. Each carpet tells a story through its patterns. Gardens of paradise, trees of life, symbols of protection and prosperity. Spice vendors open their bags and containers, releasing an explosion of aromas that spreads through the air like an invisible cloud of seduction. Ceylon cinnamon, Kerala cardamom, Kashmir saffron. Each spice carries the essence of distant lands and exotic cultures. The smell is so intense it seems almost visible, creating aromatic layers that blend and separate like colored smoke. Goldsmiths light their forges, and soon the rhythmic sound of hammers striking metal echoes through the galleries. Golden sparks dance in the air like tiny shooting stars, and the smell of heated metal mixes with the aroma of burning charcoal. Their workbenches are true works of art, covered with polished tools and precious stones that capture and reflect the light like small suns. Scribes and copyists organize their parchments and inks, preparing to document the day's transactions. Their quill pens are sharpened with precision, and small pots of ink, black made from charcoal, red from cinnabar, blue from lapis lazuli, are arranged like a painter's palette. The smell of fresh ink mixes with the aroma of parchment, creating a fragrance that speaks of knowledge and the recording of history. The Grand Bazaar awakens thus, like a living organism that breathes and pulsates with the energy of hundreds of people, preparing for another day of commercial and cultural exchanges. Every sound, every smell, every movement contributes to creating a unique atmosphere, where the mundane transforms into magic, and where every transaction is a small miracle of human connection that transcends borders and cultural differences. With the bazaar officially open, the first buyers begin to arrive, each group bringing their own traditions and needs. Local residents are the first to enter, intimately familiar with the best merchants and the fairest prices. Their simple cotton tunics contrast with the richness of the goods on display, but their experienced eyes know how to identify quality and value with just a quick glance. Women covered in delicate silk veils move gracefully among the stalls, their soft leather sandals producing gentle whispers on the polished stone floor. They examine fabrics with experienced fingers, testing the texture and quality of the thread. Their melodious voices negotiate in low, respectful tones, each word carefully chosen according to traditions of courtesy dating back centuries of refined commerce. Local businessmen, recognizable by their elaborately wrapped turbans and fine linen tunics, walk with determined purpose. They know exactly what they are looking for: spices for their wives, fabrics for their daughters, tools for their trades. Their conversations with merchants are rituals of mutual respect, where every greeting and every gesture holds deep meaning. Servants from noble houses arrive carrying lists written on parchment, their instructions detailed on what types of silk to buy, which spices to acquire, what jewels to select. They wear tunics of intermediate quality, neither too simple nor too elaborate, marking their position as representatives of important families. Their movements are precise and efficient, for they know their masters expect specific results. Scholars and scribes search for rare books and writing instruments. Their dark, simple tunics contrast with the intensity of their eyes, always alert to discover some rare manuscript or treatise that might expand their knowledge. They handle books with almost religious reverence, their hands trembling slightly as they touch parchments that may contain wisdom from ancient civilizations. Local artisans examine tools and materials for their crafts. Carpenters look for exotic woods, jewelers seek precious stones, weavers examine silk and cotton threads. Their trained eyes can instantly assess quality, and their calloused hands recognize superior materials by touch. They converse with merchants as equals, professionals respecting professionals. Cooks from taverns and palaces negotiate spices in large quantities. They smell, taste, and examine each product with the expertise of those who know that the quality of the ingredients will determine the success of their dishes. Their tunics often bear stains of saffron and other spices, marks of their trade that they wear with pride. Doctors and healers look for medicinal herbs and ingredients for their remedies. They carry small leather bags where they keep samples, and their conversations with vendors are technical and precise. Every plant, every mineral, every substance is examined with scientific care, for they know that the lives of their patients may depend on the quality of their purchases. Young fiancés accompanied by older relatives look for wedding gifts. Their faces show a mixture of nervousness and excitement as they examine jewelry, fabrics, and perfumes. More experienced relatives guide them, whispering advice on quality and prices, transmitting knowledge that will be passed down to future generations. The movement of these first buyers creates a gentle but constant energy in the bazaar. Their voices blend into a melodious murmur that echoes through the stone vaults, creating a human symphony that speaks of needs, desires, traditions, and dreams. Each purchase is more than a simple commercial transaction. It is a link in the infinite chain of human connections that keeps the magic of the Silk Road alive. At midday, when the sun reaches its highest point and its golden rays penetrate through the ceiling openings of the bazaar, the activity reaches its peak. The space that just hours ago was silent now pulses with the energy of thousands of people from dozens of different nationalities. The air vibrates with a symphony of voices speaking Arabic, Persian, Turkish, Mongolian, Chinese, and countless other languages, creating a human melody unique in the world. Entire caravans arrive from abroad, their camels swaying slowly as they carry treasures from distant lands. The metallic sound of bells hanging from the animals' necks mixes with the soft rustle of their hooves touching the street stones. Merchants covered in road dust unload bundles containing wonders. Silks that travelled for months from Chang'an. Spices that crossed oceans from the Spice Islands. precious metals extracted from the Hindu Kush mountains. The air becomes dense with an intoxicating blend of aromas. Sandalwood incense burns in small braziers scattered throughout the bazaar, mixing with the scent of tanned leather, exotic spices, rose and jasmine perfumes, and the earthy aroma of wool carpets. Each breath brings a new combination of fragrances, creating a sensory experience that is both stimulating and comforting. Experienced negotiators move among the stalls like dancers in a complex choreography. Their hands gesticulate expressively as they discuss prices, their voices rising and falling in a bargaining ritual that is as much art as science. Gold and silver coins gently clink in leather pouches, creating a metallic music that punctuates the negotiations. Each successful transaction is sealed with a handshake and a smile, universal gestures of trust and mutual respect. Elegant women, accompanied by their servants, examine silk fabrics with experienced fingers. Their jewelry, gold bracelets, pearl earrings, rings with precious stones, capture and reflect the filtered light, creating small rainbows that dance over the fabrics. Their melodious voices negotiate in low, respectful tones, each word weighted with the dignity of ancestral traditions. Artisans demonstrate their skills in small workshops open to the public. The rhythmic sound of goldsmiths' hammers echoes through the galleries, punctuated by the soft hiss of hot metal being plunged into cold water. Weavers work on small looms, their fingers moving with mesmerizing precision as they create complex patterns. The repetitive and comforting sound of their work creates a rhythmic foundation for all the bazaar's activity. Street vendors circulate among the crowd, carrying trays of sweets, dried fruits, and refreshing drinks. Their melodious voices announce their wares in rhyming verses that have become traditional over the centuries. The smell of honey, dates, pistachios, and rosewater floats in the air, offering small pleasures for those who need a break from their shopping. Scribes sitting at small portable tables document important transactions, their quill pens gliding smoothly over parchments. The subtle sound of ink being absorbed by the paper mixes with the rustle of pages being turned. They are the guardians of commercial memory, recording agreements that can influence the destiny of entire empires. Itinerant musicians play traditional instruments in strategic corners of the bazaar. The melancholic sound of the oud, the mesmerizing rhythm of hand drums, and the ethereal melody of bamboo flutes create a soundtrack that elevates the entire experience to an almost spiritual level. Their music tells stories of love, adventure, and longing, echoing the feelings of all those far from home. The bazaar at its peak is a microcosm of the known world, where cultures meet, ideas mingle, and the future is shaped through every transaction, every conversation, every moment of human connection. It is a place where time seems suspended, where past and future meet in the eternal present of commerce and mutual discovery. In a special section of the bazaar, exclusively dedicated to the pleasures of taste and smell, a sensory explosion awaits visitors. Here, merchants specializing in spices, perfumes, essential oils, and culinary delicacies create an environment that transcends simple commerce, transforming into an almost mystical experience for the senses. The air is so laden with aromas that it seems almost solid, each breath revealing new layers of exotic fragrances. Mountains of colorful spices rise in perfect pyramids on polished bronze trays. Saffron, golden as the desert sun, cardamom green as tiny emeralds, cinnamon sticks exuding a sweet, woody aroma, black peppercorns like small dark pearls. Each spice tells the story of its origin. Kashmir saffron, harvested flower by flower at dawn. Ceylon cinnamon, taken from the bark of centuries-old trees. Kerala cardamom, cultivated in the misty mountains of southern India. Arab merchants, their fingers permanently stained by the spices they have handled for decades, offer small samples to interested customers. They know each product intimately, knowing exactly which combination of spices will create the desired flavor profile. Their melodious voices describe the properties of each item. This pepper warms the body in winter. This herb soothes the stomach. This oil perfumes the skin like a rose garden. Persian perfumers work in small open laboratories, mixing essences with the precision of alchemists. Vials of colored glass, cobalt blue, emerald green, golden amber, contain precious oils extracted from flowers, woods, and resins. Oud from Southeast Asia, musk from Tibet, ambergris from distant oceans, rosewater from Damascus. Each fragrance is an olfactory work of art, capable of transporting its wearer to paradisiacal gardens or enchanted forests. Skilled confectioners prepare traditional sweets in small kitchens open to the public. The soft sound of honey being heated in copper pots mixes with the aroma of pistachios being roasted and roses being crystallized. Golden, crispy baklava, lokum perfumed with rosewater, creamy halva made with tahini and honey. Each sweet is a small work of art, decorated with rose petals, chopped pistachios, or golden sugar threads. Tea vendors arrange their leaves in fine porcelain containers, each type carefully separated and labeled. Green tea from China, delicate as liquid silk. Black tea from Ceylon, robust and invigorating. Jasmine tea, fragrant as a night garden. Mint tea, refreshing as a mountain breeze. The ritual of tea preparation is an art in itself, each movement precise and graceful, each temperature carefully controlled. Honey merchants display their varieties in glazed clay pots. Acacia honey, clear as liquid crystal. Lavender honey, with its golden color and floral aroma. Eucalyptus honey, dark and medicinal. Wild mountain honey, with a complex flavor that changes with each spoonful. Industrious bees from different regions contributed to this diversity, each type of honey carrying the essence of the flowers of its homeland. Distillers of floral waters demonstrate their processes in small copper stills. Fragrant steam rises gracefully from the equipment, condensing into precious liquids that capture the essence of entire gardens. Rosewater to perfume the skin, orange blossom water to calm the nerves, lavender water to promote peaceful sleep. Each drop is like a small miracle of concentrated nature. Vendors of dried fruits and nuts arrange their goods in artistic patterns. Dates from Medina, sweet as honey and soft as velvet. Figs from Anatolia, concentrated solar sweetness. Almonds from Valencia, crunchy and nutritious. Pistachios from Aleppo, green as small edible emeralds. Each fruit tells the story of its cultivation, the care of the farmers, the long journeys until it reaches the bazaar. Merchants of vinegars and oils offer tastings in small wooden spoons. Balsamic vinegar aged in oak barrels, cold-pressed olive oil from ancient Mediterranean olive trees, golden sesame oil from Asia, argan oil from the rare trees of Morocco. Each product is the result of family traditions passed down from generation to generation, jealously guarded secrets transmitted only to worthy heirs. This section of the bazaar is a temple dedicated to sensory pleasures, where every aroma, every flavor, every texture tells a story of distant lands, ancient traditions, and the eternal human quest for beauty and pleasure. Here, commerce transcends the simple exchange of goods, becoming a celebration of the diversity and richness of the natural world. In the gallery dedicated to fabrics and crafts, a visual symphony of colors and textures unfolds before the amazed eyes of visitors. Here, the products of human skill reach levels of perfection, bordering on the divine, each piece representing not just merchandise, but centuries of tradition, technical knowledge, and artistic expression. The light filtered through the ceiling openings creates an almost sacred environment, where each fabric glows with a life of its own. Chinese silks hang gracefully from bamboo structures, their surfaces capturing and reflecting light like liquid water. Each roll tells a story through its patterns. Golden dragons symbolizing imperial power, lotus flowers representing spiritual purity, stylized clouds evoking celestial heavens. The process of creating these silks involved thousands of silkworms, master weavers, and artists who dedicated their lives to the perfection of their art. Persian carpets cover the floor and hang from the walls like three-dimensional paintings. Each knot was hand-tied by artisans who learned their craft from childhood, their fingers moving with mechanical precision while their minds visualized complex patterns. Natural dyes, cochineal red, indigo blue, saffron yellow, created colors that will remain vibrant for centuries. When stepped on, the carpets produce a soft, welcoming sound, as if whispering stories of palaces and paradisiacal gardens. Weavers work on portable looms, demonstrating techniques that date back millennia. Their fingers dance among the threads with mesmerizing grace, creating patterns that seem impossible to reproduce. The rhythmic sound of the looms, click, clack, click, clack, creates a comforting music that envelops the entire section. Children watch fascinated, absorbing knowledge they will one day pass on to their own children. Embroiderers sitting on velvet cushions work on delicate pieces with gold and silver threads. Their needles catch the light as they move, creating small golden flashes that dance over the fabrics. Each stitch is placed with mathematical precision, forming geometric patterns that follow sacred principles of proportion and harmony. The result are pieces that seem to capture the very sunlight in their fibers. Merchants of Egyptian linen display fabrics so fine they seem made of solidified air. These linens, produced on the fertile banks of the Nile, are the result of techniques perfected over 3,000 years. When held against the light, they reveal an almost ethereal transparency, and to the touch, they are softer than a baby's skin. Pharaohs were mummified in similar fabrics, and now they adorn the bodies of the living with divine elegance. Leather artisans work in small workshops, the rich, earthy smell of their materials mixing with the aroma of oils and waxes used in finishing. Their tools, curved knives, decorative punches, small hammers, create gentle rhythms as they transform raw hides into objects of beauty and utility. Bags decorated with geometric patterns, belts with silver buckles, shoes that perfectly mold to their wearers' feet. Jewelers work precious metals with techniques passed down through generations. The delicate sound of small hammers striking gold and silver creates a metallic music that resonates through the stone vaults. Their workbenches are true alchemy laboratories, where common metals are transformed into objects of transcendent beauty. Each piece is unique, carrying the invisible signature of its creator. Ceramicists demonstrate their art on potter's wheels, their hands molding wet clay with fluid, confident movements. The clay spins hypnotically as it takes shape under their experienced fingers, transforming from an amorphous mass into elegant vases, decorative plates, ornamental tiles. The sound of dripping water and molding clay creates a meditative atmosphere that calms the mind and elevates the spirit. Woodcarvers work with exotic woods brought from distant forests, black ebony from Africa, aromatic sandalwood from India, fragrant cedar from Lebanon. Their sharp tools remove small shavings that fall like golden snow, gradually revealing forms of surprising beauty. Decorative boxes, musical instruments, religious objects. Each piece carries the soul of the tree from which it came. This section of the bazaar is a living museum of human creativity, where each object represents not only technical skill, but also humanity's eternal quest for beauty, perfection, and the expression of its soul through matter. Here, time seems suspended, and every visitor becomes a witness to the magic that happens when skilled hands meet noble materials and ancestral traditions. Beyond the simple trade of goods, the Grand Bazaar serves as a cultural melting pot, where ideas, knowledge, traditions, and philosophies mingle and transform. In specific corners of the market, small groups naturally form, creating impromptu spaces for intellectual exchange that are as valuable as any physical commodity. Here, the true wealth of the Silk Road is revealed. Not just gold and silk, but human knowledge in all its diversity. Scholars from different civilizations gather around ancient manuscripts, their voices low and respectful as they discuss translations and interpretations. An Arab sage explains the principles of algebra to a Chinese mathematician, while a Persian astronomer shares his observations on the movement of planets with a Greek philosopher. Their hands gesticulate expressively as they draw diagrams in the fine sand spread on small tables, each symbol and number representing centuries of observation and reflection. Doctors exchange knowledge about medicinal herbs and healing techniques, creating an international pharmacy of wisdom. An Indian healer demonstrates Ayurvedic massage techniques, their hands moving precisely over specific points of the body, while an Arab physician explains the principles of bodily humors. Small glass vials containing plant extracts are passed from hand to hand, each sniffed and examined with scientific reverence. Musicians from different traditions meet to share melodies and rhythms, creating musical fusions that never existed before. The melancholic sound of an Arab oud blends with the rhythmic percussion of African drums, while a Chinese flute adds ethereal melodies to the improvised composition. Their music tells stories without words, communicating emotions that transcend linguistic and cultural barriers. Artists demonstrate painting and calligraphy techniques, their brushes dancing over parchments and silks with movements that are both precise and fluid. An Arab calligrapher teaches the art of decorative writing to a Chinese painter, while a Persian artist shows how to create pigments from precious minerals. Each stroke is a meditation, each color a visual prayer that uplifts the spirit and nourishes the soul. Storytellers from different cultures take turns narrating legends and myths from their homelands. Their melodious voices weave narratives that transport listeners to distant worlds. Crystal palaces in China, hanging gardens in Babylon, lost cities in the Arabian desert. Each story is a cultural gift, a window into the soul of a civilization, generously offered to enrich mutual understanding. Philosophers debate eternal questions about the nature of existence, morality, and human purpose. Their discussions are respectful yet passionate, each tradition of thought contributing unique perspectives to universal issues. A Buddhist sage speaks of detachment and compassion, while an Islamic philosopher explores the relationship between reason and faith, and a Greek thinker examines the principles of logic and ethics. Engineers and architects share knowledge about construction and design, drawing plans and diagrams that showcase innovative techniques. A master Chinese builder explains the principles of earthquake-resistant architecture, while an Arab engineer demonstrates advanced irrigation systems. Their ideas mingle and combine, creating architectural possibilities that will influence future constructions in distant lands. Cooks exchange recipes and culinary techniques, creating gastronomic fusions that delight the palate and nourish the body. Spices are combined in ways never before imagined. Preparation techniques are adapted for local ingredients, and new dishes are born from collective creativity. The aroma of culinary experiments floats through the air, tempting the senses and promising unprecedented gastronomic pleasures. Experienced merchants share information about trade routes, weather conditions, and political situations in different regions. Their mental maps of the known world are precious resources, and they share them generously with colleagues, creating an information network that keeps trade flowing smoothly across continents. Each conversation is an update on the state of the world, each piece of advice a contribution to collective success. These cultural exchanges represent the true spirit of the Silk Road, not just a commercial network, but a bridge between civilizations, a space where humanity recognizes itself in its diversity and fundamental unity. Here, in the heart of the Bazaar, the future is being shaped through the peaceful exchange of ideas, knowledge, and traditions that will enrich the world for generations to come. As the sun begins its slow descent towards the horizon, painting the sky with golden and orange hues that reflect through the bazaar's ceiling openings, a subtle yet noticeable transformation takes over the environment. The intense midday light gives way to a softer, more welcoming illumination, creating long shadows that dance between the marble columns and lend the space an almost magical atmosphere, as if time itself has slowed down to savor the day's last moments. The frantic pace of morning negotiations gradually transforms into more relaxed and contemplative conversations. Merchants who have spent the entire day on their feet now allow themselves to sit on velvet cushions, their backs resting against piles of soft carpets. Their voices, once urgent and business-focused, now carry more melodious and philosophical tones, as if the approaching end of the day invites them to deeper reflections on life and its meanings. The aroma of burning incense intensifies, mixing with the scent of mint tea being prepared in small samovars scattered throughout the bazaar. Arab merchants serve the tea in small decorated glass cups, the golden liquid gently steaming as it releases its refreshing fragrance. The ritual of serving and drinking tea becomes a ceremony of hospitality, where strangers become friends through the simple act of sharing a drink. Itinerant musicians position themselves in strategic spots, their instruments capturing and amplifying the natural melancholy of dusk. The sound of the oud resonates through the galleries with melodies that speak of longing and nostalgia, while bamboo flutes add ethereal notes that seem to float in the air like musical sighs. Small crowds gather around the musicians, faces relaxed and smiling, absorbing the beauty of the ancient tunes. Food vendors light small fires and begin preparing simple but aromatic meals. The smell of bread baking in clay ovens mixes with the aroma of spices being sautéed in copper pots. Lamb kebabs grilled over embers release a fragrance that makes stomachs gently rumble, while honey and pistachio sweets are arranged on silver trays that reflect the golden light of dusk. Children run more freely among the stalls, their crystalline laughter echoing through the vaults as they play hide-and-seek among the bundles of goods. Their parents, more relaxed now that the day's business is winding down, watch with indulgent smiles, occasionally calling them closer when they venture too far. The sound of their childish voices adds a note of innocence and joy to the atmosphere. Scribes take advantage of the soft light to review the day's records, their pens gliding smoothly over parchments as they document the transactions made. The rhythmic sound of writing, the soft scratch of the quill on paper, the delicate rustle of pages being turned, creates a comforting soundtrack that speaks of order, record-keeping, and continuity. Every written word is a link in the infinite chain of commercial history. Artisans begin to put away their tools with ritualized and careful movements. Each instrument is cleaned and polished before being stored, a sign of respect for the tools that allow them to create beauty. The soft metallic sound of tools being organized mixes with sighs of satisfaction for a job well done, creating a symphony of completion and accomplishment. Fabric merchants carefully fold their silks and brocades, each fold precise and respectful. The soft sound of fabrics being handled, the whisper of silk, the denser rustle of cotton, the distinctive sound of wool, creates a sonic texture that speaks of care and reverence for precious materials. Each piece is treated as a work of art, deserving of care and protection. Perfumers carefully close their essence vials, the delicate sound of glass stoppers being screwed on punctuating the air with small musical clicks. The lingering aroma of their fragrances, roses, jasmine, sandalwood, musk, remains suspended in the air as an olfactory memory of the day ending, promising to return at the next dawn with renewed intensity. Groups of friends naturally form, merchants who met during the day now sharing personal stories and travel experiences. Their voices blend into multilingual conversations, where Arabic words mix with Persian expressions, Chinese phrases intertwine with Turkish terms, creating a hybrid language unique to the cosmopolitan environment of the Silk Road. As the first stars begin to dot the darkening sky and the crescent moon emerges like a silver jewel over the city's domes, the Grand Bazaar begins its closing ritual. This moment holds an almost religious solemnity, as if the entire commercial community participates in an ancestral ceremony that marks not only the end of another day of business, but the continuation of a millennial tradition connecting the present to the past and the future. The last buyers make their final purchases with more deliberate and contemplative movements. The urgency of midday is gone. Now each choice is carefully weighed. Each transaction carries an additional emotional weight. A woman selects a vial of rose perfume for her distant daughter. A merchant chooses a book of poetry to read during long travel nights. An artisan acquires a special tool that will perfect their craft. Merchants begin to cover their goods with fine fabrics, protecting them from the night's humidity and dust. The soft sound of fabrics being spread over spices, silks, and jewels creates a melody of protection and care. Every movement is precise and reverent, as if they are tucking their treasures in for a restful night's sleep. The vibrant colours of the day gradually disappear under protective veils, creating mysterious shapes that will await dawn to reveal their beauties again. Bazaar guards make their final rounds, their leather sandals producing soft echoes through the slowly emptying galleries. Their oil lanterns create golden circles of light that dance across the stone walls, revealing architectural details that went unnoticed during the day's bustle. Each shadow tells a story. Each reflection on the polished surfaces whispers secrets of transactions made and dreams shared. Small groups of merchants gather for evening prayers, their voices rising in unison in a melody that transcends religious and cultural differences. Muslims turn towards Mecca. Christians make the sign of the cross. Buddhists meditate in silence, each following their tradition but all united in the recognition of something greater than themselves. The sound of their prayers blends harmoniously, creating a spiritual symphony that sanctifies the commercial space. Accountants make the day's final calculations, their abacuses producing rhythmic sounds as wooden beads slide over polished rods. Coins are counted and recounted, the metallic sound creating a music of prosperity and success. Each calculation represents not only profit, but the continuation of families, the education of children, the maintenance of traditions, the possibility of dreams realized. Scribes finalize their daily records, documenting not only commercial transactions, but also cultural encounters, new knowledge gained, friendships formed. Their pens capture in permanent ink the ephemeral moments of the day, transforming lived experiences into preserved memories. Every written word is a link in the infinite chain of human history, a testament to humanity's ability to create, exchange, and grow together. Families of merchants gather to share evening meals, their voices mingling in intimate conversations about the day's events. Children listen fascinated to adult stories about distant lands and exotic people, absorbing knowledge they will one day pass on to their own children. The aroma of homemade food, saffron rice, spiced lamb, fresh bread, floats through the air, creating an atmosphere of home and belonging. Musicians play softer, more contemplative melodies, their songs speaking of journeys completed and new paths to be explored. The sound of their instruments echoes through the empty galleries with a sweet melancholy, as if the music itself is bidding farewell to the day. Each note carries memories of distant cultures. Each melody is a bridge between different worlds. Artisans clean and organize their workshops, preparing for the next day's work. The sound of tools being put away, workbenches being cleaned, materials being organized creates a rhythm of completion and preparation. Their hands, calloused by honest labor, move with the precision of those who intimately know their craft and deeply respect their instruments. When the heavy bazaar doors finally close with a deep, resonant sound that echoes through the adjacent streets, a special silence takes over the space. It is not an empty silence, but one filled with memories of the day, saturated with the residual aromas of spices and perfumes, laden with the vibrations of the thousands of voices that filled the space with life and energy. The bazaar sleeps, but does not rest. It dreams of the next dawn, when its doors will open again to welcome the world in all its diversity and richness. As we contemplate this extraordinary day in the heart of the Silk Road, we are invited to reflect on the profound nature of human connection and cultural exchange. The Grand Bazaar of Samarkand was not merely a place of commerce, but a microcosm of humanity's ability to transcend differences and build bridges of mutual understanding through respect, curiosity, and the shared pursuit of beauty and knowledge. In our contemporary world, where globalization is often seen as a homogenizing force, the Silk Road teaches us a different lesson: that the true richness of global exchange lies not in uniformity, but in the celebration of diversity. Every spice, every fabric, every work of art that crossed continents carried with it not only commercial value, but the unique essence of its culture of origin, enriching all who came into contact with it. The patience and respect that characterized negotiations in the bazaar contrast sharply with the speed and often impersonality of our modern commerce. Those medieval merchants understood that every transaction was also a human encounter, an opportunity to learn something new, to broaden horizons, to build relationships that could last for generations. They knew that true value lay not just in gold or silk, but in shared stories, exchanged knowledge, and built trust. Sustainability was a natural reality at that time. Products were made to last, materials were too precious to be wasted, and the time it took for goods to cross continents created a natural appreciation for quality over quantity. Each item was valued not only for its utility, but for its beauty, its durability, its ability to bring joy and meaning to the life of its owner. The bazaar also teaches us about the importance of meeting spaces in human society. In an era where many of our interactions happen through screens, the image of those merchants, artisans, and travelers meeting face to face, sharing tea, music, and stories, reminds us of the irreplaceable value of physical presence, direct human contact, and the ability of all senses to participate in the process of knowing and understanding the other. The religious and cultural tolerance that characterize these commercial centers offers an inspiring model for our contemporary world. Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, Zoroastrians, and followers of other traditions coexisted harmoniously, united not by a common faith, but by shared values of honesty, hospitality, and mutual respect. They understood that diversity of perspectives enriched everyone, that different traditions could coexist and even complement each other. Finally, the Silk Road teaches us that true human progress happens not through domination or imposition, but through voluntary exchange, mutual learning, the celebration of differences, and the shared pursuit of beauty, knowledge, and meaning. In every transaction made in that bazaar, in every conversation between strangers who became friends, in every moment of wonder before something new and beautiful, humanity was writing one of the noblest pages of its history. May we carry with us, as we drift off to sleep, the serenity of those merchants who knew that the true treasure was not just in their goods, but in the shared journey of discovery, growth, and human connection that made every day in the bazaar a small celebration of the infinite richness of the human spirit.